see you.
Gaby, it's so nice to see you and all of our listeners out there joining us. We are the Today Show. We are Unstoppable You, and we want to be unstoppable together with our fabulous Gaby Mammone. I was so perfectionist about Mammone that and Gaby with one B, everybody. She is just plenty with one B. So, Gaby, we have known each other a little while, and I know that, a gazillion of your projects. These are just two that we're talking about today. Another one I know about is that you are an extraordinary speaker internationally, and your newest story about to be launched at a big Speaker Slam event is about your dad. So I wonder if we kind of go past, present, future. Maybe we should start with your dad because he's the reason you're on this planet.
Oh, well, that's nice. Thank you very much, Tracy. If anyone has been affected by COVID, this story is for you. I was close with my dad. I was daddy's little girl, and my best friend, my mentor. He was always in the audience when I was speaking. He was always the one who pushed me to do piano lessons. As a little girl, I remember I was scared on stage and I would freeze. So whenever they would send me to the Kiwanis music festivals and I would go into contests, I would be on the stage, I would look at the piano, and I knew my piece at home. I'd look in the audience, I'd see all these eyes staring at me, and then I would freeze.
Yeah.
I could rarely even get first to past 3 bars. So I had this immense stage. My dad was like, Gaby, you can do this. And so he really pushed me. And I remember the turning point for me was there was one day where I was in the audience. I was about to be called for the next contest. And I think I had maybe done 7 or 8 contests year after year. And I couldn't even place because I couldn't even finish the song. It was traumatic for a child. It's tough. But that one last time, my dad pulled out the red gloves, and my mom actually said, put on these gloves. And my dad said, these gloves are going to give you strength. They're going to warm your hands right before they call your name. Then you can take off the gloves. You're going to go on stage. You're going to nail it. Don't worry about winning. Worry about getting as far as you can in the song. That's it. In the moment. Like, okay, Daddy. As I'm like crying, like I don't want to do this. Anyway, long story short, I took off those gloves when they called my name. I went to the stage and I finished the song for the first time. And I didn't place, but that's okay because the lesson there was that it's so many times people are focused on the destination.
Yeah.
But you need to focus on the here, now, the journey. And so that was kind of a catalyst for me in learning that. And so I went through my life just really emulating him and watching him. In 2000, he got sick. He got very sick. And he was one of the first people in our city actually that had COVID. Caught it from work. The stores were closed then. And then he brought it home to my mom. We both had COVID. And the truth is that I thought I was going to lose both of them. They were both in bad shape. I remember those days clearly, and he was in the hospital in intensive care in paralytics, and nobody was allowed to visit the hospital. So I was relying on the nurses to put a phone to his ear, and I was like, Daddy, come home. I believe when you're in a coma, you can still hear. So I was like, Daddy, come home. We need you. We need to plant the seeds in your garden because he was a real avid gardener. He was amazing. The best thing I do. Really fantastic. And he has an amazing gardening story. But I'm going to save that story because I'm entering it into the contest.
Very good.
One of your
So be sure to watch her on Speaker Slam. Tune in live.
That's a really impactful story. So anyway, so I told him to rush home. The grandkids need him. I need him. And after 17 days of being in the hospital, he sadly passed from COVID-19.
Oh, Gaby, I started this story not knowing the end of that story, not realizing. I knew Father's Day had just passed, and I knew you were doing a Father's Day Speaker Slam, and so I brought it out. You're very kind to share that with all of us so vulnerably.
Thank you. My mom made it. And so, this last year has been awful. Like, from a grieving perspective, that, until you really experience tragedy, and I've been through adversity, Tracy,
Yeah.
we'll get to it, but I have MS. I raise children that have needs. I've been through some challenges in my life, but we're resilient, right? We just figure it out. And the death of my father, oh, that put it on a whole new level for me, really.
Yes.
Here I am needing to give my own resilience advice to myself. But when
Yeah.
it's hard, right? It's hard. So I've learned some lessons for sure. And what's most important here is focusing on the here and now, hugging the people that you love tightly. And if you're not allowed because of COVID, telling them that you love them,
Yeah.
tightly. And just it's been a real tough journey. But we all have a story, and what's the story? What's the gratitude? What's the lesson? And that's where I'm at now. Is this navigating that?
And the here and now, and that beautiful gloves on lesson. And you're even in passing, your father gave you the story of focus on the here and now in your ability to cope forward for your mom and for your family. And
Yeah,
we all have to cope forward at the moment because we don't want to break. We don't want to take a commercial because you're so engaging and you've got us so enthralled in story. So, folks, this is Gaby Mammone who's with us. She got that fabulous last name from her dad or married name.
that's my married name. My
That's
maiden name is Di Virgilio, which is also a fancy Italian one.
Yes, say your dad's name again. Your unmarried name.
My maiden name is Di Virgilio.
Even Gilio. I think I'm glad I knew your married name. Look at that. So we are going to return with maiden name Even Gilio, Gaby 1B Mammone, right after this commercial break to hear more about the adversities of MS and having children with needs and being part of the company Kind Projects and what can support all of us in being difference makers. And you've just heard her extraordinary story, and she's with us today, still making a difference. So stay tuned right after these messages on the Today Show and Unstoppable You with Unstoppable Tracy and Gaby Mammone. We'll be right back after these messages.